Perhaps you're one of those people who discovered their talent or art at a very young age and you've always wanted to make something of it, to be a successful writer, a musician, an artist, a fashion designer, content creator, and so on. But you might have not really been able to harness this because of fear that you might have had, or what you think others might think of you, or how difficult you think it might be to start. This is something that I relate with that you might as well. So today, from experience, I'd like to share with you 10 things that you need to know as a creative, especially in Ghana. If you've been looking for any secrets at all, this is it. You can only get very good at something if you improve upon it or continue to practice it. However, you wouldn't have anything to improve upon in the first place if you haven't actually started anything. So one thing that we need to understand is the concept of these 3 things. That's inspiration, motivation, and then action. So we think most of the time that it's a linear sequence where you have to be inspired first and then get the motivation to do it and then take action. But we have to understand that it's a loop that can be started from any point, and most times you can generate motivation from taking action instead of the other way around. I can say this from experience because I have experienced very high levels of productivity, especially in my writing, because I wasn't waiting around for motivation, but I rather just went straight to action. So I wouldn't wait to feel like writing, I would just start. You'd find that when you take this approach, you might start really slowly because you don't really feel like doing it. But what's going to happen is, as a result of you having started something, you will start to build a little bit of momentum and then build motivation from there because you've seen the results that you're having. And that's going to make you continue to produce more, and that action is going to produce more motivation for you to continue. If you approach most of your creative projects this way, you would find that most of the time you are producing more work without really relying on how you are feeling. If you keep waiting to feel motivated to do something, you'll probably be waiting for the rest of your life. This is me slightly changing up something that Stephen King said. Well, he said, write with the door closed and rewrite with the door open. If you find that you're the type of person who's always discussing something that they're working on or always talking about the plans that they have, you need to stop. Unless the person that you are talking to is somebody that you are collaborating with or somebody who is going to give you very useful advice, you have no business whatsoever discussing your plans with them. And this is for 2 reasons. First reason is, if you are always talking about the plans that you have, it's likely that you are never going to do it, or it will take you a very long time to do it. And this is because if you constantly talk about your plans or the things that you are working on, you are going to generate the satisfaction that comes with actually having accomplished it. And because you have generated that good sensation, you might feel too comfortable and you actually won't go and do it. Most of the time, if you talk to people about it, they'll think that, oh, this is a very good idea, and so they're going to give you praise. Every single praise is going to feel like you've already won, and you might end up falling back into the satisfaction of feeling like you've won, and you might not take the step to actually do what you're supposed to do. Second reason is that if you talk about your plans so much, you are opening yourself up to so many opinions from people. And especially in Ghana, I know that every single person has an opinion. The danger with this is that excess opinion from so many people might eventually drown out your inner voice that birthed the creative idea in the first place, or you might even end up confounding the idea or getting discouraged because you discussed it with too many people. Excess society is an asylum that is going to overpower your own thoughts. So do make sure that when you have plans to do something, be it any creative project that you have at all, unless you really need to talk about it with somebody, stay silent until the work is accomplished. If you do this, you will be able to fully tell yourself the creative idea or story, such that later on, if you really need somebody to help you, you would know how best they can help you or collaborate with you. In my previous point, I said that excess society is an asylum that will overpower your thoughts, but then sometimes too, excess solitude is a vacuum that can desiccate them. Once you have worked on your project alone and have become a bit familiar with it, you would identify that there might be certain aspects of it that you might want help with, and that's when you consider collaborating with somebody on your project. If you'd like to collaborate with somebody, you have to go prepared. You don't just go to them and say, oh hi, I like your work, let's collaborate, and anything goes with me, let's just go with the flow. It helps to study their work and identify how their work complements yours, as well as also identify which gaps you can fill in each other's work. You can approach them and say, hi, I really like your work and I'd like to collaborate with you. These are a few ideas that I have, such as this and this, so can I share them with you, or can I share a mood board with you? And you can also listen to their suggestions as to how your collaboration can work. And also do bear in mind that nobody is obliged to collaborate with you, because sometimes some people might feel like your work doesn't really go with theirs, and that's totally okay. Make sure that you don't take such rejections personally, and also do well to network with a lot of people so that when it comes to the time where you need to collaborate with somebody, you would have many ideas as to who to choose to collaborate with. There's this twisted narrative of humility around us. Because we don't want to come across as pompous, or we don't want to intimidate anybody or step on anybody's toes, we begin to sell ourselves short. And when somebody compliments you or your work, you'd find that you'd be making certain self-deprecating comments about yourself, like, oh, this thing, it wasn't really me, it was my camera quality, things like that. If you continue to make these comments about yourself, you wouldn't notice it immediately, but what's going to happen is that you'll be subconsciously telling yourself that you're not really good enough, and that might eventually make you have very low self-esteem. Sell yourself with your chest. There's no glory whatsoever in trying to water yourself down just because you want to appear humble, because honestly you're not really doing anybody any favors by doing that, and honestly nobody really cares. You have to sell yourself with your chest because nobody is going to do it for you. And truth is, if you don't sell yourself, nobody is going to know that you or your work exists in the first place. Confidence and big dick energy. That's how you get there. You see, sometimes you would see somebody who's really popular for a certain craft, right? And it's just because they really put themselves out there. And you might find that you are probably very good at that craft. You're probably even better than them at that particular thing. And the only difference between you and that person is just because they know how to sell themselves. Confidence is what gets you these things. And confidence and big dick energy is pretty much how you attract things. And you have to do this thing with or without your friends. Your friends might be there to support you, but then you would even find that your biggest supporters might not even be your friends, but will be somebody who discovered you from somewhere, and that's totally okay. You have to learn to promote yourself shamelessly. Salem talks a lot more about promoting yourself shamelessly, so I'm going to put a link in the description box below so you can check his Instagram post out. You can't promote yourself with just your mouth though. We have to see the work of your hands. So every time you've been telling us that you're a writer, you're an artist, you're a designer, we know you by your name, but now it's time for you to show us the action. People are moved by what they see. If I need to collaborate with you or poach you for a certain project, I would need to see the things that you have already done. So try and start to put all the work that you have together. It could be on Instagram if, let's say, you have pictures of the work that you have done. It could be a link tree or any other type of landing page. Or it could even be a simple portfolio website where we can see all your work. You can create a free portfolio website on WordPress, or you can pay a little subscription fee to get a CMS like Wix or Squarespace. I'm going to admit it's not very easy to find opportunities to support creative work. But then honestly, I have also discovered a lot of opportunities. And this isn't because they just came to me. I had to actively search for them for a very long time. Especially during lockdown, I spent days and weeks searching for opportunities for my writing. So I found that I was submitting my work to a lot of publishers, a lot of African literary magazines. I was submitting to a lot of competitions. I was trying to seize every single opportunity that I could, and eventually I started to see real results. Nobody is going to present any opportunity to you on a silver platter. You have to go out there and search for it yourself. Especially for writers, there are sites such as James Muriwa or Creative Writing News that continually post opportunities that you can seize as a writer. I'm going to put all those links in the description box down below. I'm also going to make a video about opportunities that creatives can seize in Ghana, so make sure you stay tuned for that video. If you also know of any opportunities, or if there are any opportunities that you yourself have experienced, make sure you comment those down below as well. You have to set aside time to hunt for opportunities. Fortunately, there are a lot more opportunities coming up for creatives nowadays, but you're not going to find them if you don't search for them. In as much as we like to make so many plans and actively work towards our goals, it's important to realize that one essential thing that we need to do is to rest. Because it's only through rest that you'll be able to generate more energy and peace of mind to work towards your goals. So do well to take the time off to rest and to take care of yourself. And by rest, I also mean that you should learn to take breaks. You see, there's certain periods where you would be actively working towards something and nothing really seems to be working, and you might be overburdened with so much anxiety and expectation from yourself or other people. Once you start to notice a certain pattern like that, it might be a sign that you need to take a break. And we need to realize that these periods aren't just still moments where we aren't really doing anything, but we can consider these periods as fallow periods that are preparing us towards better work ahead. There's this mantra that the stoics go by that I usually like to repeat to myself, and that's festina lente, which means to make haste slowly. So diligently do your work, take your time, follow the plan that you have set for yourself, and don't rush things, and you eventually see how things are going to fall into place for you. And also, if you've been looking for a sign, this is it. I know that it's much easier said than done, but then if there's anything that you've been wanting to start for a long time, this is the time for you to start. And if you've already started something, keep going and you're going to see the results soon. Okay everyone, thank you for staying through till the end. Do like this video and also comment down any other ideas that you might have. Share this video to anyone that you think might find it useful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!